Hi kids, welcome back. Early morning review for me because I got a busy day, and plus there's so much going on with the Big Bot Bash and all this other stuff. But I thought, this being more of a sci-fi based channel nowadays, I should give you a review on the new Ryan Gosling film, Project Hail Mary. Heard a lot of good things about this, and for the most part, well, 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone I know who's seen it says it's amazing, so I gave it a watch. And like I say, I'm not going to go through spoilers. As usual, I always take a few notes while watching, and let's take you roughly what's going through it to make you decide whether you want to watch it or not. But then again, I don't want to influence anyone to watch it or not to watch it. It's up to you. Anyway, basically, the film is taken from a book by a writer called Andy Weir, who wrote Matt Damon's The Martian. It's directed by Lord and Miller, famously from the Lego movie, but also infamously, they got fired from the Solo movie for making it too much of a slapstick fest, because comedy is kind of their thing. Anyway, there's comedy in this, but it's not too slapstick. Written by Andy Weir, based on his novel, but also written by Drew Goddard, who cut his teeth with Joss Whedon on a number of Joss Whedon projects. So it's kind of witty. It starts off with our protagonist, Ryan Gosling, playing a character called Ryland Grace. Now, when I heard the name, I thought, Ryan Gosling, Ryland Grace. It's one of those, I'm the star, I want the lead character to sound like my name. Not true. The book came out a while ago, and the character was called Ryland Grace long before Ryan Gosling was even involved in the project. So, shows you what I know. Anyway, so the film opens with Ryland Grace waking up in a spaceship with a tube down his neck and plastic all over him and stuff, and he doesn't know where he is, who he is, or what's going on. And you think, wow, how did he get here? And he's thinking, wow, how did I get here? Basically, his memory starts coming back pretty quickly, thank goodness. Plot armor means he quickly works out where he is and how to operate some of the many systems on the ship. I know he's supposed to be smart, but flipping heck, he gets acquainted with the inner workings of a rocket ship quite quickly, even though he's not a proper astronaut. So we see some flashbacks. He's a teacher. He's a science teacher in school. He's teaching the kids. And they start asking him about the dots. Basically, the dots are this thing they've called the Petrov line. Scientists have discovered a sort of dotted line from the sun to Venus, and they don't know what it is. But what's happening is that these dots seem to be slightly dimming the sun, and they reckon the sun will go down in the Earth's temperature will reduce because of this in about 30 years by about 10 degrees, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it will be catastrophic for the Earth. So the kids are kind of worried, but he's like, it's fine. The smart people will figure it out. He is visited by the shady government people and the space scientists, etc. And they say to him, we need your help ASAP. It's always funny how the people in power run out of ideas and intelligent people so quickly, and they just go to Joe Public, who's teaching in a school, because he's got this wacky notion that life doesn't need to have water involved in order to create life. That's one of his wacky theories, but it kind of helps. What have we got here? Yeah, so he gets tasked to examine a tiny sample that they've got of these dots, whatever they are. And it turns out that he works out that they are not so much a life form, but kind of cells. And they're going from the Earth to Venus for a scientific reason. He's like, why have they missed out like Mercury? So the powers that be have done some finding out, and they work out that not just the Earth's sun, but every star in the galaxy has one of these Petrov lines, these dots of these cells going from their star to certain planets, except for one star called Tau Ceti, or Tau Ceti, I think is a probably better way to describe it. And they decided to launch a mission to Tau Ceti to work out why this one star is not being affected. Ryland Grace says, well, we haven't got the technology to get there. You need to travel very close to the speed of light. And they're like, well, we do have the technology by using a sample of the dots themselves. So they call the dots astrophages because they eat stuff. They eat stars, star eaters. Anyway, so they work out that these astrophages move so fast when they're the astrophages move so fast when they're subjected to certain types of light that they can use that to actually power a spaceship conveniently. Anyway, so just as the spaceship is about to take off, there's an accident, and wouldn't you know it, Ryland Grace is called upon to be the pilot. I realize I'm going into too much detail here, so let us skip forward. A lot of this is told in flashback, by the way. Anyway, he's back on the ship. He's woken up. He's kind of working out. He's remembering a lot of what he needs to remember. He's having flashbacks, which informs the audience as to where he's going, what he's doing. And it's not too long before he comes across another giant spaceship, but it's very organic in shape. It's all structural and golden and thin lines, and basically he comes across, as you'll see in the trailer, a life form which is basically like a kind of spider made out of rocks. And guess what he calls it? Rocky. So a lot of the film is dedicated to him trying to communicate with this rock creature, and thankfully they find a way. It takes a long time, but they do find a way to communicate. After a while, he thinks, well, I've got this computer which will sort of work as a sort of universal translator, and it prints out what the rock creature is saying. And it's a very cute creature. And as he's working out what sort of voice this creature could have using sound files, it goes through a number of different voices. And one of the voices is a Liverpudlian woman. And it says, what's the problem? Blah, blah, blah. And it says something in a very Liverpudlian accent. And it turns out that Liverpudlian accent belongs to a woman called Eunice Huthart. That's Eunice Huthart. She is famous in the UK, very famous in the UK, for winning the Gladiators TV show many, many years ago. She's a very petite and feisty Liverpudlian woman who basically kicked ass and won the Gladiator show, later to become a gladiator herself. And then she carved out a career for herself as a stunt coordinator and a stunt person on many, many films, most notably doubling for Angelina Jolie in the Lara Croft movies. But Eunice is also a stunt coordinator on this film as well, and she's still doing well. So they put her voice in, which is a really nice touch, I think. What I will say about this film is it tries to be very uplifting. It's peppered with little bits of humor all the way through to keep it from being a one man on a spaceship and quite boring story. It is 2 hours 40. It's quite long. And I think it succeeds mostly. It's reminiscent of very many films, and I was wondering, what does this remind me of? And it struck me in 2024, which was, blimey, 2 years ago now, Netflix put out a movie called Spaceman with Adam Sandler about a lone astronaut who meets this alien creature, which is basically a giant CGI spider, which is done really well. And he has conversations with this spider, and this spider is a kind of very sort of rudimentary grasp of the human language, and it reminds me very much of Ryland and the character Rocky. Rocky's done really well, by the way. I suspect there is CGI there, but everyone is saying, oh no, it's a practical puppet made by Neil Scanlon, who made a lot of the droids for the Star Wars movies, and his team, and puppeteered by Daniel, is it Daniel Ortiz? I mean, just need to check. James Ortiz, sorry, who does the voice for Rocky as well. But there's a lot of shots that are done by CGI, and I won't go into why. But anyway, let's quickly flick through my notes in case there's anything really important. Yeah, because of the similarity to Spaceman, I thought, what else does it remind me of? And it gives you vibes of Silent Running, the Bruce Dern film from 72, I think it was 72. Even down to his spacesuit. It's made of this kind of ribbed material that looks like corduroy. It's almost identical to the suits that Bruce Dern wears in Silent Running. Very interesting. And also Ad Astra, featuring Brad Pitt. It's one of these sort of, the actor says, I need a solo vehicle where I'm not distracted by any other characters except for, some alien. No other actors in the way. I get to do my best acting and a lot of crying and a lot of laughing and a bit of comedy in order to get an Oscar. So it does feel very familiar in that way. As I say, Lord and Miller like to put comedy in, and there's occasional quips and the occasional slightly silly bits. And yeah, it's, I won't lie to you, some of the, I think to do with the runtime and the occasional quips began to grate on me a little bit, began to wear me down a little bit. Anyway, we've done all that. Meryl Streep's got a little voice cameo in there. It's not a spoiler. Right. Last notes, very basic notes here. So there's another flashback. They managed to shoehorn in a Harry Styles song called Sign of the Times, which I've never heard. I don't know much about Harry Styles, I'm afraid. I've written here a Robinson Crusoe story, again, about a guy on his own with a character that he can talk to for exposition, etc., etc. A little bit Castaway in space. And going back to the start, when we see Ryan Gosling's character teaching the kids in school, I thought, this doesn't look like an American school. This looks like a British school. So a quick visit to Wikipedia tells me it was all shot in the UK. There were some coastal scenes, all shot in sort of Portsmouth, and it was just shot in and around the UK. No American stuff, so Shepperton Studios, there you go. So overall thoughts, the vistas are really good. The conceptual stuff, this alien spaceship, this alien creature, this Rocky, and how it protects itself, because it doesn't breathe oxygen, etc. And Ryland can't breathe ammonia or whatever it breathes, so they find a way of, making sure that they can cohabitate in the same place. There's lots of feel-good bits in there. There's lots of, I would say jeopardy, but this is where the negatives come in. I didn't feel for a minute that there was too much jeopardy. You kind of get presented with these, oh no, everything's going to go wrong moments, but somehow I was like, it's not going to go wrong though, is it? It's there's always going to be a happy ending or oh, we've done it at the last minute. It felt a bit, I don't want to use the word predictable. I wasn't like, oh, that's going to happen. I did predict one bit, which involves the name of Rocky's partner back on their planet. Very, very obvious. Called it ages ago. And the one thing that annoyed me about the film is I know they're trying to go for moody, but a lot of the film is very dark. 90% of the shots I think were completely blackness with like just a little bit of stuff going on, which ain't too bad, I suppose. But I think if you're dealing with very abstract looking creatures and designs and stuff, you need a bit more light to see what's going on. That can put people off, and it put me off a little bit. So while everyone is loving this film like crazy, you can probably tell by my tone that I was not over the moon with it. To be honest, it seems like the sort of film on paper or the book that I would love, and there's a lot to like about it. It's uplifting in many ways. It's, I mean, last night I watched my good friend Paul Mount and his World of Stuff, his review on it, and he loved it. He gave it a 10 out of 10. He's read the book previously and really liked what they did with this film. And although it's a good film, and it may even, win Oscars, there is something about it, whether it was the familiarity of the man alone on a spaceship doing his best solo acting and, bravery in the face of almost certain doom, or whether it was the long run time or the sort of very regular little quips that take you kind of out of the seriousness a little bit. Some of that all contributed to making me feel a bit about it. It's just dawned on me that the book that I edited and illustrated, Imperfect Specimen by David Jandrell, that came out not too long ago, does also share the same premise of a man on his own, not knowing where he is, flung across the universe with a very basic life form to talk to. So this is a sci-fi trope, but like I say, it's not always a bad thing. And if you do want to read Imperfect Specimen, I just read a basic manuscript of it and fell in love with it, which is why I had to get it published. Link in the bio, or if you want to hear what I think about the book, there should be a thing on screen right now. So check that out if you will. Thank you very much. So while I didn't hate it, it wasn't a painful watch. It became, as we got past the 2 hour mark, I'm like, yeah, can we speed up a little bit here now? Because things are getting dragged out. And once I had the feeling that everything was going to be fine, I mean, it is and it isn't. I'm not spoiling this for you. Obviously, the protagonist has to survive. So, like a James Bond film or an Indiana Jones film, no matter how much you put your lead character through, they ultimately do survive. So there's a slight lack of jeopardy and worry for the character's safety. But it ain't bad, and it's got a kind of happy ending. And I think it's got a slightly different ending than you'd expect, but it's inventive enough to keep your interest for the 2 hours 40. But for me, it fell short of being amazing, for the reasons that I've outlined. Anyway, I do not want to put anyone off from watching this. I am probably in the very small minority of people who weren't totally in love with it. A lot of people I know loved it to death, and I'm not trying to be Mr. Go Against the Grain, Mr. Edgelord. I'm just saying, because I've seen a lot of films like this, the sci-fi Robinson Crusoe take, it didn't present very much new to me. But if you're not super ingrained in sci-fi, you'll probably love this film to death. So if you've been thinking about it and you like Ryan Gosling, who is a great leading man, give it a go. I've written down a score here. Like I said, my friend Paul Mount on his channel gave it 10 out of 10. I don't know if I should reveal my number. As you can probably guess, it's less than 10. But Project Hail Mary. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. Please don't spoil it in the comments for people who may not have seen it. It was good. It was okay, but it was not going to make me rush out and want to get the Blu-ray or anything or watch it anytime soon. I would say a bit like the recent James Gunn Superman film. It was okay, and it did what it was supposed to do, but it seemed to be lacking something that got me really excited about it. Something to think about. Anyway, that's Project Hail Mary, currently on release now in the UK, starring Ryan Gosling and Rocky. Okay, that's it from me. I've got other stuff to do, including painting my robot for the Big Bot Bash, and I will see you very, very soon with another video. Take care now. Bye-bye then.